Hi everyone, welcome back to Grapholistic Podcast. I hope you have been doing great. In this episode, we will go in further to explore what is in phase 1. If you recall the last episode, there are 5 phases which I mentioned. Today, we will talk more about this for phase 1. So phase 1, if you remember, what I mentioned was self-awareness, which is, I want to call it in here as the tick. This tick, which is that feeling of realization you have, as I mentioned earlier, was something that will bring you to the next stage. With this realization, it will actually support you throughout the entire phases in building your self-esteem and other personality traits. There are ways to explore this phase into a deeper level. This is considered like a self-realization. Firstly, let us start by imagining it first. Imagine what you want for yourself. Anything, including the material aspect of it. For instance, if you would like to own a BMW or a 3-story house, imagine that in your mind. If you would like to have a happy family where you want attention from your parents who are too busy with their work and don't have time to spend with you, imagine what you want from them. If you want to be in a certain position in the company you are working at now, imagine what it is and why. Like I mentioned, for example, when the first time I realized this phase was when I was in primary 6, the only thing that I wanted was to pass my PSLE, so go to the first choice of the secondary school I wanted to be in a normal academic stream, and leave my primary school and friends. So that was like my imagination during that time, or my target during that time. Now the second step is, what you have to do is to write it down. Remember the diary or notebook that I mentioned to you earlier? So get something. If you haven't get something with the cover design that you like. Make this book as your personal use to write all this and anything later, including your plans and all. So when you write it down, write it clearly. In recent years, I learned that when we write goals, please include the emotions that we would like to feel when we achieve that goal. Okay, I don't remember writing any of that when I was in primary 6. I don't think I focused on the emotion during that time. So since I learn new things and it works, I am sharing with you now to include the feelings you would like to feel when you manage to attain those goals of yours, such as like when you own that BMW that you are imagining at the moment. What would you like to feel? When you get to be the first student in school for your O-levels, what do you want yourself to feel? When you start your first day at the company of your choice, what do you want to feel? These are important because most of the time, once you achieve something which you want, do you realize that your heart feels very empty? Like you don't feel anything? You don't want that, do you? What I am doing nowadays when I write what I want from my imagination, I will include these optimistic words. Okay, I will give you an example, right? For instance, I am so happy and satisfied that my 100,000 YouTube subscribers tells me that they find this content helpful for them. The comments are like they appreciate it, that it has been guiding them to be grateful about themselves. They feel motivated now than before. See how I use simple, positive, and detailed words in my sentences? I learned something about details over the years, but at times I wanted something, but I was not specific of what I wanted. Like, for instance, I want to travel because it has been my dreams to travel around the world since I was secondary school. All right? Yeah, then having that dream is positive, but the word traveling is so general. It could be to Malaysia, across the borders nearby you, which I have been to many times. So what do I mean by that? So then I decided to make it specific. Instead of using traveling in general, I rephrased the word in my diary like travel to Alaska in February 2018 for winter. Just put the name and put a date. If you can put a date, it's good because sometimes what I realized that if you don't put a date, it's so general. They said that let the universe give you when it's time. But I guess yes, that is part of it. But secondly is that I realized that if you don't have a deadline, you do not know when this is going to be. Like I mentioned in traveling, I just say I want to travel around the world, but where, when, how? And if you notice, I wrote it in a way that it is already achieved, okay? In which this actually brings us to the third step of how to write this goal. I learned this actually quite recently, which is to write goals like as if we have already achieved it. They call it the manifestation of your goals, something like that. I will give you some of the successful examples that I am really excited to share with you, just so that you will be motivated to try this. Like I mentioned earlier, these phases I used throughout my life, so meaning that I have done it on repeat. When I was in secondary school, which is about 15, 16 years old, okay, starting from secondary 1, my ambition became more active. I was like more motivated than before to do more than just going to school. I start to think about my future aims in life. I think it is because of my exposure to books, novels, and the characters in the novels, which are, aside from their love life, I am intrigued when they study in university or when they travel and when they are successful in their career. So then I wanted to do something for myself, that I know that there is another world apart from what the community say or what the society tell you to do, all right? Since then, everything I write it down, what I want, including things like small things. Since then, everything I write it down, including what I would like to do every day, like small goals, such as to complete reading half of this novel, finish editing my vlog episode 1, or clean my room. Those are like small goals, all right? And every time I am done with it, I will cross it off. Crossing it off sounds like, that is so unnecessary, S.Sulianah. You don't need to do that, but you will realize at the end of the day, you will look forward to your next day. Those simple action is actually a satisfaction and motivator. The fourth step is to say it out loud. What I meant to say it out loud here is not to tell the whole world, your friends or your family members, okay? If you want to tell them, this is up to you. But what I learned is this. What I learned from a recent video is this. Somebody, a motivator was saying, there's no need for you to tell your dreams to other people. This is a conversation actually with yourself. So you can do is, like what I did after prayers. Okay, I normally when I pray, right? Since I was at the age of 15, when I pray, what I did was I will tell God to give me the ease, okay? Ease me, make it easy for me to achieve those dreams. That is like, for instance, I wanted to get my diploma, degree, master's, and study till PhD. This is the exact sentence I used. I want to achieve those in my life. By the way, I am not the type to tell my friends my goals, even though how close I am with them. I just don't feel comfortable telling them anything. The only person normally I will share my goals or plan will be my dad, because he is more open-minded and will always encourage me to try it. There are 3 reasons I don't share my plans or goals to my close friends. Firstly, is because my mom did remind me before when I was young that there is no need to share with people about yourself, because sometimes they don't really want to know and it will sound like a show off, okay? Secondly, personally, I feel like every time I tell someone how excited I am about a plan, something not right will happen. Either the plan will be cancelled or I will fall sick. For instance, there was one time I told my late grandmother that I was so excited to travel to Indonesia with my parents, and she told me, don't be too excited. You will fall sick there. I understood now it is something to do with what we have registered in our subconscious, but because I believe that will happen, so it will happen. But whenever I travel to another country, I don't tell my friends, I don't upload my status in social media until I reach that place. Then I will upload or check in, okay? I do tell like 1 or 2 friends who are very, very close to me that, hey, I'm going this place, so just if you want to meet up, maybe we meet up after I come back, that kind of thing. But other than that, I don't. Lastly, the reason is because I have tried telling my story once in a while to 1 or 2 friends, and they ended up telling about their own story. So basically, I don't think people or generally are really interested to know, which I understand. I don't mind though. They have their own life. Well, so that is what I learned on the way. But I do once in a while share with my closest friends whom I trust a bit more than others the plans that I want. But it's normally not too detailed. So if you are planning to share your stories and plans to the people surrounding you, just be cautious. Back to the use of words and saying it out loud. Remember, the words that I use when I pray and still am using is please give me. I didn't ask for permission from God because I said that I want this and please make it easier for me to do it. Whatever your religion is, try to use this method too in your prayers if you have not. I use the words God here is because that is what I literally do in real life. But if you are someone who don't believe in one, you can use your own methods to speak to that entity you always do. So when I speak to God in my prayers, I speak to myself too, but consciously and also subconsciously. It's like I'm training myself to register it at the back of my mind. You can try to use this method even when being with friends or going out with people. So whenever the relationship is going to be the next step to be more serious than just friends, I will do the same. It's not only about my goals and my studies or my career. So if the person is for you, I will say if the person is for me, make it easier. But if not, please don't waste both of our time and his or hers. The trick is the keywords in talking to yourself, your God, is to tell and not ask. Okay, because sometimes after you ask a question and you are given the signs as an answer, you will not notice it. I have asked and sometimes given signs for years, but I still didn't realize it, and I didn't know that it's a sign. So it's very difficult to actually break down the code, or sometimes it's so much obvious right in front of you, but we do not realize it. So what I did was I did try to use words like a permission. So I felt like very heavy most of the time when I use it. It does not solve any of my problems. I will give you some interesting examples. There was one moment around in the year 2007, I wanted to continue my degree while working full-time. That was after about 5 years I had graduated from my diploma. No, 5 years, 4 years about I had graduated from my diploma. I kept asking God in my prayers and also asking myself, is it good for me to continue my studies now or shouldn't I? Because I remember I don't have enough savings of like $32,000 to pay for the school fees. Well, it didn't help me. I stayed stuck with that decision. Then one day, I think that would be like, I think nearly more than 6 months, I got stuck with that decision. Then one day, something just clicked in me. I decided that I really wanted to continue my studies. Okay, there's no more time to waste, and I feel like this is the right time. But then during one of my prayers, what I did was I told God, all right, I prayed that I said that I want to continue my studies and I want to take my degree. And I need help in solving the issue of paying for my school fees. Guess what, guys? You will be surprised. I don't know whether I should categorize this as miracle because I told my dad about this plan and I told him how much I have and whether I should apply for a bank loan, which I don't really want to because of the interest and the long-term payment that will have to pay. He didn't want me to apply for the loan too. Then I didn't expect him to actually say to me this. He said that I will help you pay first. Then I was like, okay, great. As long as it's not affecting your saving, I said. But I will pay him monthly, meaning that $500 from my salary during that time, which at that time was about, my monthly income was very low. It's about 1.8. After diploma, it was 1.8. And it will take me about 5 or 6 years to pay everything to him back. Okay, I understand. I know the concept of parents should have paid for their children's school fees, but during that time, I decided to not burden my dad, so I told him that I will pay him back. That is how it happened. Okay, in just like 1 or 2 days, it is all settled. And the money is there. I submitted my application and of course it goes through. So far, this process works for me and I use it on repeat. I experienced the same thing in 2017 when I wanted to continue my master's. Same process of whether I should continue taking my master's or not because my plan was divided into I want to migrate to another country, study in overseas, or find another job instead in my own country. So it's like a mix of many things that happen. And then I was like stuck with weirder and more vast roadblocks that I had created myself. If I'm not wrong, I was stuck for nearly 2 years trying to decide whether should I take my master's now. Then my ex-colleague, who is now a friend of mine, Hans, he bought for me a GRE book so that I can take the entry exam to those courses. Before that, I did took a GMAT, which I didn't really put in effort into it, so as expected, I didn't pass. I never failed for exams, this kind of exam, but that one I really failed and I didn't really like regret it or something. So initially, I applied for like masters in psychology everywhere, including my own country, but I didn't get any response. This was during that 2 stuck years when I still could not decide. Then again, one day, that same kind of thick and feeling came into me. I did the same process. I told God that I am doing this and make it easy for me. Guess what? Again, immediately it's very fast. The next day, yeah, I know. Next day is very fast. It was like an immediate decision, which is within less than 2 hours. I searched online for Masters in Marketing in Google, and the first results was NTU Masters in MCI. It stands for Masters in Marketing and Consumer Insights. And I read through it and immediately submitted my application online. This time, money was not really an issue for me. I have like the money of 42k to pay for my school fees during that time. Only that the part of me was hoping that there will be more money, just so after using it, I still can live my life buying anything I wanted, travel, and not limit my spending just to pay for my school fees. I have experienced those moments before and I don't want to repeat it again. And of course, eventually the money part is settled again, so I don't need to worry about it anymore, right? You may ask, why I decided to take the marketing course instead of the psychology? Maybe it's just because of the timing is not right. Okay, firstly, my degree was a double major in marketing and psychology. So at the back of my mind, I knew that if I were to apply to masters in any business related major, my application would be accepted long ago, even by NYU or the universities in Australia and Canada, which I had applied. And I believe that because I was still stuck with my decisions, I do not want to apply for it first. Secondly, I remember that I did told my ex-classmates, who are now my close friends, my degree psychology lecturer, and also myself, that I will never want to take psychology again because it was so tough. I guess if I really wanted to take my psychology masters again, I have to reverse those words that I have said. So, after submitting my application for my Masters in Marketing and Consumer Insights, a day later I received an email from NTU inviting me to an interview with the professor. Next 2 days, I received confirmation email that I was selected to be part of the course. Okay, you see how this works? The seed that I planted was when I was 13 years old, and then gradually it grows, and I could pluck the flowers of fruits stage by stage throughout my life. I will not have any idea regarding the process that I will go through to achieve those. I let it play its own story. For instance, the money I got to pay for my studies, it was like a miracle happening right in front of me, but it wasn't. I don't want to categorize that as a miracle. I think there is something like God gave me based on what I wanted, what I have tried to path throughout the journey when I want it. I guess so. Because you see, everything that you do, the core step is you have to self-reflect first whether this is really, really what you want and what exactly you feel about yourself. Because everything is already there in yours and your subconscious. It is how you tap it out. Sometimes people do talk to me, maybe I should also like save money to travel like you, like travel around the world like you. Then I was like, but is that the first thing that you wanted to do? Is that what you want to do? Actually, there's a lot of people who talk to me in this way, That is what I'm saying, that whatever you want is actually the first thing that is in your plan. So, when you have all this in your mind and your plan, it will automatically attract the things surrounding you that will lead you to this goal. When you do something, such as reading a book, all right? Automatically, you will be inclined to read books that would make your journey to your goals more meaningful. You will also automatically attract people and friends who will make your life easier to reach your goals. Take note now, those who does not fit to be in your life at that moment, such as will make you think negatively about yourself or who prefers to talk about the past, will automatically distance themselves from you. And anytime you ever feel down, demotivated to move on, you will meet random strangers who will smile to you and make your day, who will tell you about themselves, who nearly gave up when they were younger but decided to move on, and that is their best decision that they have ever made. Within seconds, I will tell you that you will be motivated and you will forget about what you are worried about, and then you will decide to move on and move forward. Talking about the topic of subconscious, there is this book which an ex-colleague of mine, shout out to Ramesh, who gave me as my farewell gift last year. This book title is called The Power of Your Subconscious Mind by Dr. Joseph Murphy. Read this. It was explained in a simple way and based on true events. He explores on how subconscious mind works and how we can learn to use our subconscious mind in finding, setting, and achieving our goals, including the simplest things such as solving our daily problems, finding the things we misplace at our home. I will only recommend books that could make a difference on the way you think and perceive life, and this is one of those books. Alright guys, we have looked into the 4 steps on how to self-reflect and what to do when you already have that tick in you but you have no idea how to move forward with it. In order to add value to what you have listened in this podcast, try it for yourself. These entire phases are the process to building your personality and self-esteem. This process is also helpful when you realize that you have no motivation to move forward in achieving your goals, to move forward in your journey, to wake up in the morning and doing the things you need to do daily. This will help you when you don't have the energy to work and you find that every day, your mornings, your noons, your nights seems like you are just doing the same routine. And that pisses you off with everything around you. And when you implement this wholeheartedly, try to share it also with those who needs to be motivated. You will not know when someone might needs it and how it can make a difference to the person. In the next episode, we will look into phase 2, which is changing our bad habits. All these episodes are connected, which means that I might not mention some steps in episode 1 again because it will be confusing for you, but I will tell you more about the other part of the journey behind phase 1. Meanwhile, I will end this episode here. Thank you for listening. I will see you in the next episode. So to watch this recorded podcast and any other videos such as behind the scenes, videos related to handwriting analysis, and anything related to personality development and coaching, you can visit our YouTube channel or visit www.grapholistic.com where all the links to the videos are there. At the meantime, take good care of yourself. Goodbye.